can't speak for Chris, but I know it is for me, and I'm sure it is for you. This is the highlight of my week. Welcome to Mildly Informed. I'm Richie Firth, he's Chris Skinner, and we only exist to inform you.
Little known fact, Richie's middle name is Reginald, and it's a real pleasure to be with you this week. I've had a week that has generated talkability, and I look forward to talking about it with you.
So it sounds like a challenging week for you. Shall we pick the mood up by informing people? We inform each other.
Yes, before we inform people on new stuff, Rich, we should mention last week's informing session in people's podcast feeds now. We, as we always do, cut a social clip. They go on YouTube, they go on TikTok. Please go and have a look at them there. One of them, I wouldn't quite say it went viral, but I'm looking at it now, 700,000 views, over 2,200 comments, 22,000 likes. That's pretty impressive. The fact, as an aside, I'd love to understand the algorithm. It got 2 views on YouTube. And then I was like, that's weird. I reposted it and it got more than 1,000. But either way, we talked about Every. It seems to have sparked the nation. There were angry people who are sick of their delivery men. There were so many Every and other delivery drivers as well commenting, and we had some empathy for them last week.
We did.
And them sharing their stories was really interesting to read.
That was the fascinating thing about it, because when we were mildly informing people about couriers, we weren't slagging couriers off. All we were doing was presenting the facts that they are up against. And I think that is why so many people were like, wow, this makes sense. And also it's why the couriers were coming out saying, finally someone gets us. We ain't the bad guys. Yeah.
So it was lovely. And then, Rich, someone highlighted a connected story to this to you. And I think the world needs to hear this.
I got sent on my Twitter. You can follow both Chris and I on X, or whatever you want to call it these days. Don't ask Elon. He's got all sorts going on.
He's busy.
He's very busy. At Richie Firth, at producer Chris. I got sent a social clip of ex-Premier League referee David Coote, who had a few troubles and is no longer refereeing in the Premier League, let alone anywhere. But what he is doing is delivering Every parcels. Who
Amazing.
would have thought?
The clip is so funny because it's like, I don't think most people study their door, ring, whatever the app is that they're using, videos and go, oh, that looks like so-and-so. The fact that someone bothered and went, oh, that looks like David Coote. No, actually, I think it is David Coote. And then shared it. We've had no denial from Coote. Now, he's a man who does like to deny a story about him, so I'm pretty sure that this is a robust situation here.
Can I say one thing, and it might not be what you're expecting, and it's me actually complimenting somebody, and I want to compliment ex-Premier League referee David Coote. There's no doubt he had a tricky time. All right. Yes. And he might have made some decisions that he may well regret right now. However, what I don't want to do is laugh at him for becoming an Every deliverer, because the one thing that he could have done is just bum out on things. But he's decided, tough time, not going to sit on my backside. I've got to do something. I'm going to go and deliver some Every parcels, despite the fact that people could recognise him and have a pop at him. So for getting off his backside and ploughing on, I tip my hat to David Coote.
Hear. And if he, like some of the legends on the chat on the TikTok, is delivering not just 30 parcels an hour, some were going on, they can do 50. If he's up there, David, we'd love to chat with you. We are fascinated by the world of the courier, and you could be our first guest on this show.
He may well be working harder as a courier than any Premier League referee ever has done.
I do not doubt that for a second, Rich. 100%. I think that's the case.
You can get in touch with us. You can email us. It is mildlyinformedpod@gmail.com. You can obviously use the socials for anything that you want to discuss that we've been discussing.
Rich, let's move forward now. Tell me about your week. I'd love to hear about it.
Chris, I want to get a dog.
Yes, you do. That's the right answer. What has happened to make you think this?
Last week, we had some friends come and stay with us, and it wasn't just them that stayed. They bought their cockapoo, and we had 2 nights of a cockapoo in the house, and it just felt right. I've been wanting to get a dog in the house for quite some time, but I wanted to make sure that the time was right. And having had 2 days of a cockapoo in the house, we realised the time is now right. We realised that my wife is lucky enough to work in a workplace that allows you to bring your dog to work with you every single day, should you wish. I'm lucky enough to be at home every single morning so I could have the dog at home with me. We have a lifestyle that is conducive to
Yep.
dogs. Then saw a Facebook advert for some golden retriever puppies that needed rehoming from an animal charity. I was like, this is meant to be. This is a sign. Went for it, called, left messages, left emails. Within 24 hours, all of those puppies had gone like proverbial hotcakes, which meant you're back to square one and you're realizing, okay, cool, we really wanted those dogs. They're not going to come from the charity. We're going to have to go and buy one. That's fine because we've realised we are ready to have a dog in the house. And then I looked at the prices of dogs and Chris, I want to weep. Oh my God.
Mate, I'm a dog owner. Can I share a little bit of insight here?
Please do.
First of all, cockapoos are lovely dogs. I assume it wasn't a pup.
No, it wasn't, no.
Yeah, because they are absolutely insane when they are young. So if you love cockapoos, you'll love non-crazy dogs. So, don't get me wrong, I really like cockapoos, but as puppies, they are a nightmare. I have a King Charles Cavalier. She is a kind of rescue. She was sort of gifted to us by someone who wasn't able to look after them anymore. We had also looked for at least 18 months on all the websites and the dog rehoming charities and all that kind of stuff. And every time a dog came out who could suit our lifestyle, 1,000 people, it seemed, had beaten us in the queue to that. Puppies would come up, young dogs. It was like we were just really beginning to give up until this other opportunity came to us. I have Googled how much it would have cost me to buy our dog, and holy shit, we wouldn't have done that. Because then you've got, Rich, you've got the insurance, you've got the food, you've got the commitment to brilliant dog toys. You know, it is a whole new world that you've got to get into. But if I can share this with you, my life is richer for having my dog. And if that's going to happen to you, I'm so happy for you.
This is the thing. I don't like parting with money. I'm not sure there's many people that do. But would I do that for the love that I'm going to get back of having a dog in the household? Absolutely, I would. Cockapoo can be up to £2,500. Golden Retriever, which is really what I want and what I've owned before, they can be up to £3,000 brand new right now.
They also eat loads, mate.
Yeah, that's the other
money.
That's the other thing. Do you know what the top 10 dogs are in the UK right now?
What, in terms of population size?
In terms of most popular breeds in the UK, yes.
Yeah,
I've got a game for you.
All right, okay. So let's tick a couple of obvious ones off. Shar-Pei.
No, not in the top 10.
Labradoodle.
What's a Shar-Pei?
You'll recognise it when you see it. They're amazing.
Are you going with some fancy name for a French bulldog? Because if that's the case, that's at number 7.
No, I was going to say French bulldog, and you've ruined that. Thanks, mate.
Balls.
Staffy.
Any others? Staffy. Yeah, number 3.
German Shepherd.
Number 8.
There's probably at least 2 types of Cavalier on there.
No. None. No, there's no Cavalier.
Sorry. There's 2 types of Spaniel, is what I meant to say. Sorry.
Cocker Spaniel at 4, English Springer Spaniel at 6.
Yeah, okay. Pug.
Is that a French bulldog?
No, they're different. They have sort of a similar vibe, but they're different.
What, as in like ran into a wall?
Yeah.
No pugs. I'm bored of you guessing now. At 10, Rottweiler. Couldn't believe that. 10, Rottweiler.
Apparently, they're really nice dogs. If trained right.
Apparently. Golden Retriever at 9, German Shepherd at 8, French Bulldog at 7, Springer Spaniel 6, Border Collie 5, Cocker Spaniel 4, Staffordshire Bull Terrier 3. You haven't named either of the top 2.
I said mongrel. Did I say mongrel? Mongrel.
No. Jack Russell at 2.
Oh, you're joking.
I'm not joking, no. And I put it to you that thanks to Blue Peter at number 1, it's the Labrador.
Oh yeah, they eat too much. They're like they eat too much and they get fat. It's such hard work keeping them in shape.
In summary, 5-star review for dogs. I want one in my lives, but dogs, sort your pricing out.
There you go. You heard it now. Lower your prices, dogs.
Chris, what's on your mind aside from all the stress?
Rich, I've had even away from the stress, I've had a bit of stress. My oldest daughter is 11 now, and for some time she has started to want more independence. We went out for a bite to eat. She was like, "I want to walk home today." We're like, well, "No, we drove. You're not walking home." "I want to," and so she's really starting to assert it in different ways, which is really good and really positive. One of the ways she's trying to assert it is she wants more financial independence. She wants her own debit card where we can essentially put some pocket money and birthday money on. You set a spending limit and you can do all that kind of thing.
I'm all for children having their own financial independence.
Yeah, well, yeah, yes. I mean, I think the bank of mum and dad is still going to be funding that debit card. But still. And so we were quite up for doing this. And several months ago, I have a bank account with a bank called Starling. And they promoted that this was a service that they offered. And it's all on the same app as your own banking. So it's really easy to monitor and look after. I thought, absolute no-brainer. I am going to sign her up. And, for the record, I'm in full-time employment. I do not own loads of debt. I've never been declared bankrupt. I'm the sort of person who you think, yeah, sure, of course you can have a card. They absolutely flatly denied me one.
Really?
And I went on a process and I was like, why? And we went on this proper back and forth ding dong where they essentially said, you are not eligible and we refuse to tell you why.
Wow.
And could you imagine? I was incandescent with rage to the extent that I also have subsequently opened another bank account for myself, which I haven't really done much about yet because I'm just so cross and angry and don't know what to do about it. Anyway, maybe because it's now a new financial year, I got an email from Starling at the weekend. And I said, it's time to update your details. Once a year, we ask you to check in and give us your details. And it's like, just a little, checking that you're, I guess, still in employment, that your name is right and your details are all right. And I'm like, boring, tick, tick, tick. And then it goes, employment. So I put full-time employment and then it was industry. And the industry that they had for me was adult entertainment. And I don't know how that happened, but I am not in the adult entertainment industry. At a guess, I might have typed in entertainment and just, in a hurry, clicked tick. And it got me thinking, do they think I'm a porn star? And is that why they denied me a second card?
It can't be because, porn stars are allowed to have children that have bank accounts.
You would think so. And Rich, I went off and did some research on this. And Starling, I've had a generally really positive experience with you. This is no shade on you. I just would like to know more. I did some search about whether working in the adult entertainment industry affected your credit score. And the insight I got was that actually very much no, it doesn't affect your credit score. But I then does it affect, I then started to search for how it might affect offers that you get from banking institutions. And I had a whole load of results that came back anecdotal that say working in the adult industry can affect the offers that you receive from banks, not because of your credit score, but because of internal policies, risk assessments, and reputational concerns on part of the financial institution. And I changed, therefore, what my status was to like a sort of boring, whatever, I can't remember, like arts and media or
Yeah.
whatever it was. And the next day, in the middle of the week just gone, I clicked on the apply for a card for my child. Accepted.
Wow, Chris, that's incredible.
So I kind of feel like if you are in the adult entertainment industry now, I really feel for you. Like, that's not cool. That's not fair.
It's not fair, but it does make sense. It makes sense why, when you look at the movies, the people in the adult when you look at the movies, the people in the adult entertainment industry, they're always putting those pound notes in their pants, aren't they? Because they can't bank
it's a cash society.
Yeah.
Is that it? It's basically to check that they're not like committing some kind of fraud, that they deny you the right to have a card.
I think that is what is going on. Wow.
Well,
whistle blowing 2 weeks running now here on Mildly Informed. Couriers last week. You had our sympathy. Porn stars this week.
So we know that people in the adult entertainment industry are now denied some basic banking opportunities that regular people are. Is there any other industry? Are there people in certain lines of work that the bank thinks, oh, no, not doing that? I'd love to know people who are in that situation.
It might not necessarily be banking, but insurance isn't far from the world of banking. As a radio presenter, you try getting car insurance. They all think that I'm going to be driving Tom Cruise around in my Ford Fiesta, and it couldn't be further from the truth. It's absolutely ridiculous.
They all think that you're going to be driving Tom Cruise in your Ford Fiesta.
Now, a couple of things there. First of all, I don't drive a Ford Fiesta.
Which I think is the most important factual inaccuracy there.
I drive a Tesla. Don't judge me for that.
Elon's busy. It's fine.
Elon's busy. It's fine. Elon's coming back over to the good side anyway. However, it's just mad that they're like, oh, no, can't insure you. I tried to take out one of those one-day insurance things on a friend's car. I was denied the insurance because I am a radio presenter. They thought that I was basically wanting to get this temporary insurance to drive Tom Cruise around for the day. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, here's the weird thing, right? About 15 years ago, when I had a different car and a different insurance policy, I was working on a breakfast show and we had David Tennant coming in as a guest that morning. It was very difficult to sort out a taxi for him. So I agreed that I would go and pick him up in my Volkswagen Passat. Now, if my insurance firm knew that I was driving David Tennant in a Volkswagen Passat through the streets of North London at 5:30 in the morning, that, Chris, was insurance fraud.
I love this story. As I think, we both work with David. I am still part of the team that makes his podcast. I am so excited to tell him this story and see how much he remembers of being picked up by you, mad looking in a Passat. That's lovely. That's lovely. And please, if you're from an insurance company, la 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 la. That didn't happen.
Chris, Starling Bank or Starling Bank or Adult Industries? What are we reviewing here, and what is the rating?
I'm going to give Starling Bank 2 stars.
Because he's not forgiven them.
If it's true that is their policy and that's why it happened. If it was some other administrative error, come to us, we'll talk. That star rating could go up. Working in the adult industry, I think that's a hard job. And because it's hard work, I'm going to give it 1 star. It's because simply I respect you guys, but that's tough.
Fair enough.
Should we have an ad break?
Let's. I'm crying out for one.
Now, we spoke about this fantastic thing on the programme last week. I'd experienced it. And I'm delighted that Mildly Informed is sponsored by Prolific, which is spelt Prolific. Prolific.com. That's 2 F's in Prolific. Now, they are here to support writers. Apparently, and I'm learning this myself, that a consistent writing practice is the way forward for inspiration. And Prolific is there to make it easy for you in just a few minutes out of each day to try something. I tried it last week, Rich. I've actually continued using it, but Rich, you've had a go as well.
I have indeed, and I discovered the writer that is in me that I did not know existed. What fun this has been. Every day you get a prompt of 3 words just to basically kickstart your creative juices. And I've had so much fun writing the most recent one, Chris, about Kenny, the apprentice baker, who set fire to a bakery. And is no longer employed at the bakery. Now, that was something that didn't exist in my creative mind until I'd had the prompt from Prolific. And I can't wait until the next one comes up tomorrow and I go all over again.
I love this. Like, you and I, as a result of doing this show, are becoming better writers and more creative people. So thank you very much, Prolific. We urge you to try it yourself. It's a simple, sustainable way to write often, write more, and write better. And remember, there's 2 F's in it. So it's PROLIFFIC.com.
And everyone, for a moment, do think about Kenny the baker, who doesn't have a job and who still thinks that salted caramel sweet bread would be a good idea.
Can he even call himself a baker anymore?
No, he's merely an apprentice. And we're back.
I'm really happy, Rich, because I know any moment now you're going to tell me something else that's happened to you this week.
Chris, ticket inspectors on trains.
Okay, I wasn't expecting this as a conversation from you. For the record, if you're quite new to the show, Rich, you're a big train enthusiast, aren't you? So
Correct.
You know a lot about trains, the train network, the infrastructure around it. Why on earth do you want to talk about ticket inspectors?
I had a run-in with one this week.
No, not you.
Yes, I did. But before you go there, I was not fare dodging.
Sure.
But that is the essence of what my issue is. Now, back in the day, maybe rewind 10, 15 years, when the guard, the ticket inspector, the revenue collector, as they call themselves these days, because there aren't tickets to check, they want to check that you've tapped in or tapped out and all that jazz. They would walk into the carriage that you were in and you would hear a bright and breezy, "Tickets, please," like that. Bright and breezy, a performance. And then everyone would be like, "Oh, yeah, better get my ticket out," and all that kind of stuff. These days, Chris, they appear like ghosts, and it's as if they're wanting to catch you out. Now, the experience that I'm talking about specifically, the other day I was on my commute home from work and I'd cycled in that day. So I was right at the end of the train, the final carriage where the fold down section was for bicycle storage, and I was very much tucked away. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this ticket inspector suddenly was bearing over my shoulder. There had been no announcement that he'd entered the carriage around about 2 minutes previous. He was just there and he grunted, "Tickets." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So then a lot of rummaging around because I'm in my biking gear and all that kind of stuff. I've been trying to keep a bike safe against the side of the thing. And you can see him just looking at you thinking, "I've got this arsehole. He's not got a ticket." And eventually I was able to get my wallet out and produce the ticket. And I just showed him the ticket. At which point he looked at it and went, "Rail card?" Like that. Because I bought a ticket with my network card, therefore giving me a third off the fare. And you could once again see in his face, he was thinking, "Ha! He's got a ticket, but look at that arsehole. He said he's bought it with his rail card. Now I've got him." So now I'm having to rummage around for my phone because that's where it's got the digital representation of the rail card on it. I unlock it, I open up the app needed updating. Then I'm having to go to the app store. Then that updates the Trainline app. Then I finally open up and show him my valid Network Rail card. What do you think he says next?
Can you prove that's you?
Nothing. He just walks away. No thank you or anything. Why be like that? Why this whole sort of assumption that I'm a fare dodger? There was no performance, no please, no thank you, nothing. Just it just makes me really angry. And then I saw in the news that you've got, I can't remember what the bloke's role is. He's a shadow member of government, so he's not government. He was a Tory. I think Robert Jenrick. That's the fella. And suddenly he's been ridiculed for challenging people at London Underground stations for not having tickets. And you see it all the time. These people that just shuffle through the barriers, they haven't tapped in, they haven't got a ticket. And he's going, where's your ticket? And all that kind of stuff. And people are having a go at him. There are people fare dodging everywhere, and it does my head in. And then someone like me, who does pay a ticket every day, is being treated as if I'm some criminal. So ticket inspectors and the whole ticket industry, 1 star, Chris. I'm riled. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. I completely agree with you. I think the only area I'd slight disagreement with you, maybe, I actually don't really have much any hate for fare dodgers. I think we live in a cost of living crisis, and frankly, I think most people who can afford to get the train do. I think people who do that, it's a kind of desperate thing to do. I think maybe there's some kids who do it for a bit of fun. If that guy had what amuses me about this, Rich, is knowing you so well as a person and as a train enthusiast. You are Britain's least likely fare dodger. There is no one in the country. No one I would have more money on paying their fare to the letter every single time than you.
Can I have your permission to put that as a quote, as a testimonial on my LinkedIn profile? Britain's 100%. Least likely fare dodger.
Yes.
But do you know what? You talk about the type of people that do fare dodge, and once again, sweeping statement here. And yes, you're quite right. We're in a cost of living crisis. But I actually think the people that fare dodge the most, it's not about cost of living for them. It's about a lifestyle choice. These are people that going through barriers and also don't have elasticated waistbands. Their trousers are halfway down their arsehole. They're just choosing not to pay for tickets.
If anything, that proves my cost of living crisis because they can't even afford like elasticated waists or belts. I stand by my point, Richie.
I think we can both agree that the whole ticketing thing for transport in this country is getting 1 star and 1 star only. A very quick review.
It's the closest I've ever been in this show to considering, do we go lower than 1?
And the opposition of this country haven't got much going for them at the moment, but Mr. Jenrick, 5 stars. Keep going on that one.
Oh, no, this is where we do disagree. That guy is a worm. Unless, of course, he chooses to support us on Patreon, then RJ, you're fully on board. We offer so much extra for people on Patreon. When we finish this show, Rich and I have got a whole other review exclusively, Robert, for our Patreons.
Bobby J and all our fellow Patreons, head over and find us on there right now. In the meantime, because you got riled there, Chris, you've had a stressful week, I want to know what else is on your mind.
This is a pretty simple review as well. I don't think this is going to take us much longer than a couple of minutes. You and I are of a similar age. I think a lot of our audience are probably 40s adjacent, shall we say. Name some of the great 80s cartoons that you enjoyed.
Henry's Cat.
Okay, that wasn't the angle I was expecting, but chuck a couple more at me.
The Flumps.
These
wasn't really a cartoon.
No,
Banana Man.
Better.
Super Ted.
You know what? Actually, like you got bored of me in that top 10. I'm bored of you now. In my mind, there's only a couple of contenders for the greatest cartoon series of the 80s.
Willy Fogg.
I'm losing the will to live. It's been a really stressful week. I don't need you playing the Willy Fogg card. I'm talking about Transformers.
Robots in Disguise. Oh my God, Chris, I had Optimus Prime back in the day.
I loved the toys. I loved the TV series. I loved the movie Arrival from Cybertron, which told the story of them coming to Earth. I loved everything about Transformers. And when the movies came out in, I think, the noughties-ish, the Michael Bay movies, I have to say, I hated them. I went to see the first one and was disgusted with it. I gave up on the rest of them. I thought they were awful. And so I discovered there was a new movie, Transformers 1, and it was going to be animated, and it was going to be nothing like those last ones. It was going to be a reset. And I was cynical because I think it came out about a year ago and I didn't bother watching it. However, this week I watched it with my youngest. It's my favourite film of the year. Adult film, kids film, doesn't matter. I've seen Oscar-nominated movies, Oscar-winning movies this year. Transformers 1, particularly as a fan of the original franchise, is a brilliant, brilliant movie.
So who's providing voices? Any people that we would know?
Yeah, there's a bunch of names. The obvious one who I recalled was Chris Hemsworth. Okay. But there are 3 or 4 really big A-list Hollywood names doing some of the great voices in it. I believe, was it something like Orson Welles' last acting role was a voice in the original Transformers movie?
That is an amazing fact.
Someone massive like that was in the first, and the voice talent in this is really good. It's a kind of prequel. It tells the backstories of the Transformers we know and love now, and it's beautifully animated. It kind of draws from the 80s style, but is super modern. I think the guy who animated it is the guy from like one of the Toy Story movies. Mm-hmm. So the standard is so high. I was just so excited. The like throwing the nerdy bits for those who enjoyed it is great. Setting the scene, establishing this world building was just like amazing. I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. You do not need to watch this with a child if you liked Transformers. It's great. 5 stars.
Wow. Here's a question. Why are we wasting time on AI these days instead of having actual Transformers?
I don't understand your question.
Okay. I'll rephrase it.
You mean actual robots instead of computers that do the robot question and answer?
No. I don't think I could have asked a more simple question. Back in the 80s, we had the idea of Transformers. Back in the 80s, nobody had thought of the idea of AI. But what we did is we didn't progress the idea of Transformers into real life. But AI now exists.
I've got nothing.
Wouldn't it be really cool? Wouldn't it be really cool if you drove to work in a car and then rather than having to find a parking space, your car then transformed into a useful robot?
It would be absolutely incredible. Like that side of your point you're making there, Rich, to have your own intelligent robot buddy that can be a lorry, it can be a gun, it can be your best mate that you go and play sport with. Brilliant. I'd love to have my own Transformer best buddy. Where that interacts with, it's that or AI. You've got me. There was loads of things in the 80s that haven't got realised. Where are the Thundercats? Why aren't there more all-action man-cat people saving us?
I've muddied the water by bringing AI into it. I guess what I'm saying is I can't award 5 stars to Transformers purely because I feel they had an opportunity, a springboard in the 80s, and they didn't take it, which is why I'll give it 4 stars.
Who are they? The Hasbro?
Hasbro could be a bigger deal than what Hasbro doing these days? Nothing.
I reckon a quick Google would tell me how many billions of pounds Hasbro are worth.
Well, let's save that for the comments.
Can we please take an ad break? And I want to hear more from you.
You said you wanted to hear more from me. Or are you still frustrated about the Transformers and the business value of the Hasbro Corporation?
I have to say, I'm really struggling to keep it together today. Um, I'm enjoying myself immensely, but I'm a little bit delirious. And I think what you have to say now could tip me over the edge.
Dry cleaners. What a
Oh,
racket.
what?
1 star straight away for dry cleaners. And I've not even told you about it. I don't think there is another way that I could rid myself of £15 yet not have any idea whether I'm getting value for money or what they're doing with it.
I'm sorry, I'm crying. I haven't heard a word you've said.
I have a wedding to go to on Sunday. And I realised midweek that I didn't know what I was wearing. So I don't wear suits very often in my day-to-day life, but I own about 4 different pairs of suits. That is because my weight fluctuates. And I suddenly found out that the only suit that would fit right now is one that I haven't worn for many, many years because I haven't had that size waist for many, many years in a good way. And then I looked at the jacket and it had massive stains on it. I don't know what had gone on the last time I'd worn that suit.
Yeah, that nice meal you had 4 years ago.
So I had to find where the nearest dry cleaners was. 10-minute walk to the high street, and I walked there, got inside, and there is a reception counter. There is no one behind it. But there are many, many, many items of clothing that are hung up in protective sheaths. And there are just noises going on out the back. Then suddenly out comes Mr. Magoo from the back of the dry cleaners. Hello, sir. Do you want something dry cleaned? Yes, I do. Well done for working that out. I've got a suit to be dry cleaned. He then gets the suit out and has a look and goes, yep, I can get that done. When do you want it by? Like, as soon as possible, please. This isn't for leisure. And he was like, Saturday? I was like, yeah, that'll do fine because I need to wear it on Sunday. £15. I was like, okay, cool. And then he just took the suit and took it round the back. And I know that when I go in on Saturday, he'll come out with it and that's it. The suit is dry cleaned. My problem is I've never, ever seen what goes on round the back of a dry cleaners. I've never seen a TikTok video of what goes on behind the scenes in a dry cleaners. I've never seen Greg Wallace doing a behind the scenes at the factory of a dry cleaners. No one ever knows what goes on in the dry cleaners world, yet we're happy to pay good money to have something dry cleaned. Now, if I paid £15 for some Liquitabs and did some good old-fashioned wet cleaning in my washing machine at home, I'm probably doing about 80 washes. Yet for 15 quid, they're washing one item of clothing and we're fine with it. I'm sorry, it's a racket.
To be clear here, you asked someone to do a service for you. They charged you a very reasonable £15. They did the service for you to the standard that is expected. And just because you don't understand what it is, it's a racket.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had your car fixed?
Yes.
Do you understand how to fix a car yourself?
No, but pertinently these days, when your car is being fixed or it's in for a service, the last time I had it done at Volkswagen, they were sending me videos of the undersides of the car and they were transparent about what needed to be done and what they had done. The dry cleaners don't do that because I think all they're doing is putting it in a washing machine and then spritzing it and giving it back to you in a gossamer sheath.
So if it comes back to you clean, that's not enough. But if it comes back to you clean, whatever method they use, but they have filmed it on a webcam, you are fine with it.
If I'm seeing on a webcam that they are working on it night and day and there's all sorts going on in equipment that I could never have at home, and there is some science to it, then I'd be willing to pay that £15. But at the moment, I feel like £15 is plucked out their backside.
I don't
The whole hiding of the equipment behind suits, the whole hiding of the dry cleaner himself doesn't add to the whole thing. There's no dry cleaners where you can see through to what's going on. That's my point. By hiding everything, they're almost sort of saying, we've got something to hide. There's a racket going on here.
Okay. I don't have the mental capacity right now to understand whether you're making total sense here or this is just wildly deranged.
You go to a Pizza Express these days. You go to a Pizza Express. You can
dry clean your suit?
No, you can see the chefs making the pizza. You could see right into the pizza oven. You see the art and craft. So then it is easier to understand that you're going to pay £13 for a Romana or something or other. But you don't see what's going on in the dry cleaners.
A sheet of A4 paper comes into being from being a tree.
No, but I bet there's a YouTube video.
Well, okay. Listeners, I am incapable of deciding whether Richie's making a really good point and I'm being harsh, or this is deranged. I just don't know. And Richie, if I am wrong here, I apologise. It's like I say, it's been a tough week. I don't get it, but I'd love to know what star rating you're going to give dry cleaners.
1 star.
Oh my God.
1 star because I'm onto them. I know it's a racket. I am prepared to reclassify if a dry cleaner comes forward and say, hey, come around the back, we'll show you what's going on. Then it would be a full-on apology and a reclassification of the star systems. But until that point in time, 1 star review for dry cleaners. Not for what they do, but for their price point and secrecy.
We need to go and talk to the Patreons.
We need to do that. For those that choose not to patriate with us, Chris, I hope that this has been therapy for you. I hope that those that have listened feel they have been mildly informed. That's all we ask.
I'm not saying goodbye until the end of the Patreon episode.
Fair enough. You can follow us on the socials, Mildly Informed Pod. At gmail.com if you wish to email us. And Chris isn't going to say goodbye until he said goodbye to the patrons.